doing his thing. Click go live. Zoom will begin streaming. While live, also click record
That's what gets screwed up.
straight to the computer. Doing his thing.
That's when it does a double. Let's try not doing that.
Zoom will begin streaming. While live, also click record
That's what gets screwed up.
straight to the computer. Doing his thing.
That's when it does a double. Let's try not doing that.
Zoom will begin streaming. What? While live, click record.
That's what gets screwed up. Oh, okay. You know
Computer.
what?
Doing his thing.
Fuck YouTube. Fuck YouTube. We'll just do Zoom and pick it up later. I don't know what's going on.
I don't either. We're doing it
Okay.
exactly. Listen, we're doing the right thing. At the
Okay.
end.
Let's just record on YouTube. I mean, record on Zoom.
Okay, we're good then.
Okay. Did you read that article I sent you?
And now it's, hang on. Yes, I did. Now live on your channel. Different ways to talk about God.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens. Let's just talk.
You think this is it? We don't need
I
to
don't know.
actually.
We'll find out. We'll find out. We'll have a good conversation, and maybe somebody that accidentally comes into our YouTube channel will be shocked and amazed, Cynthia, shocked and amazed.
Okay, I want you to, yeah, I want you to start off because this is a beautiful topic.
Well, okay, so
It
unless you
is
have your
the
head
topic.
under a brick, which would not be recommended because that would really hurt. Um, you probably know that Texas just got hit with massive, 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 horrendous flooding. And
Where you're from
I'm in Austin,
and Hill
South
Country.
Austin, and I've lived in Austin for 45 years, but lived all around Texas. So we actually lived in Kerrville, where the main brunt of it went, and the area that it hit is gorgeous. Hunt, Texas is where we have some of our most beautiful camps, I think, and Ingram. And in Texas, you can't have something horrible happen to another Texan without it touching a handful of Texans. I mean, we're all connected, right? We're all connected, but Texans are really connected. And so the story I sent Cynthia that's in the August issue of Texas Monthly Magazine is a guy, Aaron Parsley, that went through, he wrote a freaking amazing recount of the horrendous thing he went through that I have not been able to put down because in my head because I keep thinking of one of the things that happened, and this is not doing justice to his article, so please read it. But they lost their 19-month-old little boy. It still makes me cry.
Oh, honey, no, I didn't read that one.
Oh no, you need to read it because
Where is it? Where is it
it
on?
I just emailed it to you,
Oh,
Texas Monthly.
okay, honey. I
He
will.
does a really good job of making you feel being in the water and the whole bit. So I came out of there with two things, really feeling like I had been through it because he's such a good writer, but also because I also felt the love of his family because he was there with his parents and sister and all this crap.
Oh,
Anyway, oh my God, after I read this thing and then his wife. I mean, it still makes me cry. His wife was handling both their little girl, who was like 3, 4, and the little boy that was 19 months. And the water was first of all, their house is way, way up on a hill and it's on cement pillars. So it's like, how's the water? Why do we build a house way up the hill and then put it on cement pillar? How is it ever gonna? Well, the water not only got up the hill, it got all the way up to the cement pillars and took the house off and carried it down the river. And anyway, so this poor woman, his wife, was having to take care of the kids and try to keep them alive. And her little boy was like in her arms from the way that I remember it. And the water just took him. And of course she's saying is, she couldn't protect him. She couldn't protect him. She couldn't hold on. And I mean, that just broke my heart for them. But he also wrote a letter at the end of this article to his little daughter to let
mhm.
her know how much. her brother loved her. And that broke my heart because that was really cute. So it was it was a well-written article about one of just one of the many, many things that happened to so many people there.
Big time. Yeah, big time.
And what people don't realize is, we Texans know when, if we hear that there's going to be a flood, we know that it can be bad. I don't know if any of us have ever experienced a flood like what just hit us, even us back in the 80s when we had the 100-year flood. That was bad, but I, I don't think it was like this. So anyway, um, if you're an if you're an empath, I mean, I have been exhausted just praying for people
Yeah, big
and wondering what I could do. I mean, my my instinct, at the beginning was to get out there and, just start strategizing and directing and all that crap. But anyway, there's a lot of people like me that have been doing it and doing a great job. My brother Howdy, who was a partner with Paul Davis Restoration National, he was talking about when they had to deal with Katrina, and what people don't realize is what the rescue people have to go through after you've rescued real people healthy and everything else is you're then going to be finding bodies, if you're lucky, in body parts. And so you're just kind of, wrote, your adrenaline's going, okay, body, cadaver, okay, I got a hand here, we need to DNA classify it. You're just dealing with a bunch of horror and, of course, the people that are alive and all that stuff. Howdy said when he got through, I don't know how long he was there, a week or 2 weeks.
yeah,
The
yeah.
minute he drove across the Louisiana border, he just pulled over to the side of the road and just broke down
Oh,
and cried his heart out. Yeah,
hell yeah, hell yeah.
yeah. And, if you've seen any of the videos of all the refuse, I mean, cars just like wrapped around trees and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So, a couple of things. I had one of my friends who is very conservative, who I went to boarding school with, send me a text message, pretty much telling me how disappointed, and I mean, it was a very punitive message. And by the way, I haven't talked to her in years,
Yeah,
because I had shared uh, an article from Jim Spencer, one of the meteorologists that's been in Central Texas for years, and I love him. I've known him. He's a good man. He cares about everybody, but he had sent an article up out there about how the fuck did this happen? You know,
really?
um, why didn't we? Where were the horns? And just about how the administration had just cut out so many people from the national atmospheric, oceanic, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and I shared it just because I trust Jim and I know he's not going to put. Well, her thing was, how could you make this a political thing?
It's
And
not.
later, after I got through thinking about it, it's like, excuse me, I wasn't making the political thing. You are. Because I think even if I had had a kid or grandkid that went through this, I would be saying, how did this happen? Right?
Of course.
And I've since found out a lot of stuff, like, that Kerrville decided not to spend the money for the bighorns to let people know. And also the people of Camp Mystic had massaged the rules about where you could put the cabins down near the water, and they got that so that they could do what they
Right.
wanted to. So there's y'all, if we don't learn, we're going to be doomed to repeat it. So not, you're to blame or you're to blame or whatever. It's like, okay, what happened and how can we?
Yeah, so let's man it up again, or what do we need to do if we're not doing that? It's not
But I realized, I shared with Cynthia when I had gotten this text that what I wrote my friend was, oh, I'm sorry. I want to, because she didn't label what the article was. And I was like, what article? Because I've been submitting stuff about here's where you can donate money, here's, volunteer and
yeah,
stuff.
I love it.
And oh, by the way, and she said, and I said, I want to understand. And she wrote me back electronically, like I said, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, and I checked it out and she used the guilt thing that she had family at Camp Mystic. And I found out from one of my friends that knew her
Ah,
that
good.
that is a Camp Mystic camper for many years and is part of the alum that no, in fact, this person did not have family there. But anyway, that doesn't matter. What matters is how I conduct myself
Yeah.
so that we can have a conversation because otherwise we are never going to be able to come together. What's sad is that I don't know what it is. It's a complete I want a word, not contusion, but a confluence of
Con
different.
convoluted type
Well, we're
thing.
spinning around the kid, Brian.
It's really messy.
Just
Messy.
of beliefs of government of a lot of different things. But the thing to me is science. If anybody, I think what needs to happen is we need to have people out there that are scientists to say, okay, A, B, C, D. Here's how science works. First, you put out here's my hypothesis, blah, blah, blah. And you have to prove it over and over and over and over again to
Hmm.
say this is how it happens. I mean, there's when they're saying that our climate is getting hotter, it's not bullshit. All we can do is look like at glaciers that are melting, all kinds of things that are happening. And if you know anything about the atmosphere, of course that's going to make rain do weird shit, you know? I mean, I don't know actually if anybody could have predicted that that rainstorm that was coming was going to sit, right? But maybe with a lot of money and more science behind it, we could create something so that we could predict,
Yeah, yeah.
And um, so I don't know. And then I got to thinking, Cynthia, about God. Some of the people that I know, including this person that had texted me, I think that they believe uh that God is in the middle of everything, causing everything, happening in your life. And they would probably say that the people that had to, that died, well, there's got to be a reason for it. Um, which, by the way you and I believe, I think, uh, we do believe, I don't know. It's like when you heard that conversation with Rainn Wilson and Pete Holmes.
Yeah.
And when Pete was talking about what God is, I loved it. Oh my God.
I
It's kind
didn't.
of like, God is just, let's create. Okay, you want to do that? Okay, let's be.
Yeah.
Um, and the way that I look at it is it's not so much that God's in there making things happen, because I think that doesn't go along with free will, but we can decide what we want to do with the experience, right? Do we want to let it take us down?
Right.
It would be very hard if I had a little girl at the age of 9, much less a 19-month-old son that got washed out of me. I mean, I have been praying for that woman nonstop for God to just hold her heart because it would crush me.
It would crush anybody. If you if you got any humanity, even if you don't have kids, it will crush your heart.
Well, and neither Cynthia and I do have kids, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Of course, I feel it for everybody because and don't even talk to me about the animals. One of my friends wanted me to
Did,
go work with her at Austin Pets Alive to take in all the adoptees, and all the animals that were rescued. And it's like, sorry, I can't do that. I mean, that would have totally sent me over because I would have wanted to take every single fucking animal to my house
of course.
to love them and heal them. And
You know what's really cool? I think it was on TikTok or was it Instagram, not sure. Just some clips of animals in that flooding and stuff. You just can't. Your heart just breaks. And that's real stuff. I mean, dogs just being washed down the, oh my God. So,
Yeah.
I,
So here's the thing. I believe that more kinds of natural events are going to happen like this. And so, it kind of go tucks in with, I believe the Native Americans have a pretty decent way of
right,
living, which is like you live with the world, you live with Earth, you pay attention to what's happening in nature. You
right.
know,
You live with Mother Nature.
I don't know that Indians would have put their Native Americans would have put their teepees right down by the river. They probably would have put it somewhere because of the natural flow of the river, and
Oh, I see what you, yeah.
they would have paid attention. But anyway, the point is that we've got to start paying attention to our world and how we impact it and how we can work with it and what we can do, right?
What
What
do
if
you,
if all the glaciers melt? Pretty soon we're going to be having, like a coast on in Austin. I mean, you know, and so
okay. S-
okay.
Beautiful. That's a beautiful thing right there. So, what do you think the solution is? And hang on, we could help it, but we can't. eh, This plane of existence is about, sorry, but a lot of fucking suffering, and it's not really our true home. Truly, it's not. It's within. You're speaking about God, so it's like within. What do you think about that? Where do we start first? Is it within? Is it go get a shovel or whatever we need to do and
Well,
volunteer?
I think that if you've done the work, meaning it's not your ego and stuff, and you're led to do something, follow it.
Absolutely.
Because you will be supported to do that, whatever that is. I mean, there's people that
Yep.
are in that whole rescue effort that are doing the laundry of the rescue workers. Thank God. Who would have thought of that?
Right.
Somebody was moved to do that. Hey, you guys have one set of clothes. We're going to wash them every night for you so you don't have to do that. And we're going to give you clean clothes to wear in the morning. That's just as important as a rescue worker going out there working with cadaver dogs to find pieces of bodies. Um,
Couldn't you imagine being swept? I mean, think about.
no, I have.
I know, but if you really think about it, like tree limbs jabbing you like you're being knifed, all kinds of rocks hitting you in the head, and you're,
All I can hope is the people that did die did quickly. I hope they went quickly. I hope nobody suffered really badly. I hope that little boy just took in a big gulp of water and was gone. There would have been fear, maybe for 30 seconds to a minute, and then uh but I do believe like Pete Holmes when he was talking about God, I do believe God that way as far as God's not a thing, not it's unknowable. But I do believe that you you can you can tap into that grace and the calmness and the beauty of it and go with the flow of it. And, like I think it's important for us to be as higher self-conscious as we can, meaning, your higher self, ego, not awake self, lower self, with your family, with your friends, with whoever. And that's hard. I've known a lot of people that were incredibly spiritual people and taught a lot of good stuff, and then they were freaking jerks when it came to their family.
I know, go figure.
How
So
does that
weird.
work?
How does that work? I thought that that higher consciousness filters into everything in your life. Then you're goddamn phony.
That's right. That's right. Because that's the hard work for me. That's where I'll get triggered, you know,
Me too, honey. Me too.
left and right.
Yeah, but you also love like a mother.
Well, and then like when somebody like that friend, I mean, just like slapped me with this message, and I hadn't talked to her forever, and I was immediately like, I
Well,
automatically grabbed onto God. It's like
yeah, me too.
that
Yeah,
was not the time to get angry back at her.
Or bitter or any of that stuff, right? I
Well,
said,
because a lot of things, I think when you do the work on yourself and you're really, really working, meaning you're looking at your shit constantly and cleaning your consciousness. If something like that happens, sure, you're gonna feel, but you're gonna also know, wait a minute. I haven't been in an interaction with this person very much at all since we graduated from high school,
right.
and maybe a little bit for pockets of time. Where is she coming from to send that to me? And so I was able to dissect it. And luckily, I had another mutual friend that I was able to go.
What?
Because it was so vitrolic that I thought it might have been a uh whatever you call them. An
Like a bot, an AI bot or
Yep,
nasty like,
yep,
yeah,
yep.
yep, yep.
But I found out from this friend that she said no, it's probably from her. She's very shallow and she, has been witnessed having screaming matches with her daughter near her $1 million plus home. So she's got a lot of stuff going on, right?
Probably. Yeah.
And
And
so
guess what? We can bless them too.
absolutely,
You know what I mean?
absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I mean, what all it did for me was it was a knife in my heart for a split second, and then it was an opportunity for me to grab onto God and to say, okay, in this case too, I want to be the best I can be,
Mhm. It
right?
it doesn't mean there's no pain. I think it's okay. Like that's what I've been grappling with. You know, my situation with a person I thought was a friend, but really was not, and never really was. That's my problem. That's my thing that I got to deal with, that people are closer than they really are. Don't you fuck with me, Lynn. Just kidding. But anyway, just kidding. Yeah, to really rise above, or not in a phony, very
No.
angry way, but really go like, look, this is not mine. The best thing that I can do is live an incredible life, like I am,
Well, oh, and by the way, thank you. And
an
in
integrous kind of life
when
as
I
well.
was working through this, it was like, is there any part of this that is me? Could I offend people by putting this thing out there? Well, maybe to me it wasn't political, it's science. And it's a weatherman's, who I respect very much, opinion about some of the stuff that has happened recently with funding, et cetera, and a confluence of bad decisions that brought us here. Uh,
Yeah,
so even though my faith tradition encourages not to post things of political nature, which I didn't consider that a political thing. And I
yeah.
think that's on her and people like her that don't believe in climate science, which is like, why wouldn't you believe in climate science? Why don't they believe that's God too?
Boom. Right,
Right?
right, right. Instead of all this conspiracy bull on donkey stuff.
Well,
Right.
it's fascinating how
Well,
really shitty people can manipulate groups of people very easily into believing bullshit because it appeals to their ego, and you know, where I get angry, Cynthia, is that this is affecting me and my family and my friends.
mhm,
If the climate goes, we're all going. We're all going. And the trees and the butterflies and the hummingbirds and the deer,
the bees, just,
right?
yeah. We give monthly to this organization to protect the bees.
Oh, David made a solitary bee house with little
Aw,
cages because evidently most bees are solitary. I don't remember the
oh,
thinking about the
really?
hives. Yeah. And that's why it's good. Don't rake your leaves. Or if you do, leave a little bit on the ground because a lot of bees live inside the ground. Yeah. There's a lot we don't know that we need to know.
Of course. That's
But
why.
but what I want is to, I heard a dad talking about his little girl that had died, and I could listen to it for just a little bit. But what I loved about what he was saying about her was she was all about harmony and just the little things that she would do. And B, he gave some great examples of how she was about harmony, people getting along and everybody being together. And that has been my natural being since I was a baby.
That's right. That is yours. And that's mostly mine. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, oh, how is it the people I love, some people get rattled about this and that about them. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I love them. I don't care about those imperfections.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for me. I'm not looking for perfections in my life. And a lot of people are, so they get dismissive if you make a mistake.
Yeah.
Maybe a second mistake. Oh my God. But things like that, they write each other off so easily. But the truth is, what is the value of anybody in your life? If you think about it. So,
Well, they're just a reflection of you,
well,
and
yeah. And
when
yeah, and you don't have to stay connected to everybody. I mean, connected in your heart, but not, no, no.
well, and also what I know is if you spot it, you got it. We learned that in 12-step programs. And if somebody really triggers me, it's like, oh boy, there's
Yeah,
where the gold
there
is.
it is. Yeah,
Yep.
look at your own self. Yeah.
Yep.
And, you can go overboard and protect everything, protect yourself and your little fiefdom and not let, any disturbance in. Sometimes I want that because I've I've attained this age that I'm kind of like, well, fuck it.
No,
Let's
I think in some
fuck
way
it. Fuck it.
it's about wisdom because actually I think the Dalai Lama does teach about that. It's not, and I know Paramahansa talks about that. It's like don't let this connection with God and the calmness of God get disturbed by anything,
Mm.
you know, anything. Um,
That's why I'm okay, if I'm not the most popular or have the most friends, or I mean, I have a lot of friends, just not, you know what I mean, or this, or, the most perfect spouse, or, or my aging skin, my beautiful little skin. Just look at this. Do you see that Band-Aid?
no,
Band-Aid? Oh, yeah, you do. Come on. You
no, I
see
can't.
right there.
No.
Anyway, I took that big ass Band-Aid off. Sorry, honey, you keep going. You're on God. God is our gig these days. Forevermore.
Well, I would love it if we could do it. Somehow we'll figure out how to do this where we can listen to certain parts. Like I would love for you, every single person listening to this, to go to Soul Boom, hosted by Rainn Wilson, and listen to the first live podcast they did. And I think the guy's, it's a comedian. I know I've seen him before. He's young enough that he could have come from my womb, which is very humbling.
Aw.
But, and here's the thing, y'all, when you listen to this, the first 5, 10 minutes is kind of boy humor. And at first you're going to be like, really? What? We're going to be talking about God here. What? And it's like, yeah, yeah, they will because Pete is one freaking cool dude. And what I like about it too, he talks about he has resting seventh day Advent face. He's got a background where he was steeped in uh, religion and learning about things, which is what happened to me when I was in a Baptist boarding school. Luckily, I had a fabulous religious teacher. But anyway, what I love is Pete is able to take lessons that I've learned since I was young and make it so that you understand it. Like people like me and Cynthia that have gone we've jumped the shark. Where it's like, oh, okay, I can see that. I can see that lesson. All right. Like the prodigal son he talks about, and like the 11th hour. And God's like, what I like about what Pete's talking about is God is no thing. Um, he gets really smart
Well,
about how he's
thing.
talking,
Yeah,
right?
I like
No thing. But he's talking about God doesn't have an opinion because we're all God. We're all God, being God. So in that place, we love everything immensely. And what I love too is when he was talking about giving birth, it's like God is very creative. That's how he really gets into it. Y'all need to listen to this.
I'll listen to it in
Yeah,
full.
no, it's fabulous. And
Yeah.
he talks about how God loves to create, like, you know, when the Big Bang happened, and then when we give birth and all kinds of stuff. And it's not in God's nature, whatever God is, to say, you're bad, you're good, this is happening, this is because it's all love. And my personal understanding from when I was a little girl is, we start off in that big orb of gold love, and God's thinking, you know what? What if this little part of me binked off into Earth and became Cynthia Zito, and you get to see everything that's possible, and you're like, holy, yeah, let me do it. Let
Let's
me go.
real here. Right.
Right? Right?
Yeah, I have a little bit of different belief on that, but
Tell me.
well, I really believe that what creates a lot of chaos in this world is, free will and what we do with it, and our choices. Everything's like I mean, we make choices. Okay, I got this little boot on my foot, my broken foot. Everything I do, every movement, every thought that we have, are we
I
going to
agree. That's all with my what I'm
all
going
that?
to
Are
do.
we just going to keep going? How are we going to show up? Not for my own self. What do I need? And then people that stay in that
Right.
struggle,
No, I
that is, yeah.
it's
Anyway,
not separate from the way I believe. I believe that too. And
yeah.
what he was talking about, because I've heard this come from you, Cynthia, is God is just waiting there for us to turn to God and go,
Like
hey,
I'm
yeah,
right here. He's just constantly going, hey,
that's right.
oh, hey, okay, I'm over here. The patience of God. I just love that expression. He's just waiting. I say he because,
Yeah, well, it's just
he
waiting for us it's right there, right there.
all the time, 24/7. And
But
by the way,
that is part of the journey, like you said, it is, it's like that's why we scream when we come out of the birth canal. What?
what the fuck is this out here? Oh,
And now I'm really going to be separated. Ew, I don't like being separated, being
I
my own
know.
body,
I know,
right?
right? By the way, this is being recorded for sure. It says host. This content of this meeting is being sent to YouTube. This may just show up in a minute. I don't know. But
Ooh.
it's
Caramel, caramel.
it's happening. Anyway, I love this topic, God. It's just so vast, and if the word God, anybody out there, if, that's like when they using God like it's, I don't know, like you're picking up a glass or something. Well, it's kind of that like that.
Oh,
Don't like that word, replace it with, I don't,
good orderly direction.
yeah, just intention with Donald Duck, with whatever you want, Buddha, Jesus.
Cynthia, listen to this because he talks about some of the most spiritual people he interacted with were atheists.
I'm telling you, I think they're the biggest believers because you have to think about being in your beliefs. So I think that's godly. I do. I think you're giving your spirituality thought,
Yep.
not,
Well, I'm glad some of the faith traditions I've gone through have taught me to pay attention to words. And I know being English and getting, speaking the English language and becoming friends with people from different cultures that have different words that mean things that we don't have in ours. We're limited by our words. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And how a word today, you know, 5 million 100 years ago, 5,000 years ago, could mean something completely different, right? And also, like when you think about it, I've talked about this before, Cynthia. This is going to be like if somebody's smoking pot, it's going to make you go, wow. Okay, so when I went to community college and I got to take a solar astronomy class by one of John Wheeler's grad students, and I can't remember his name, but he was fantastic. So basically, I'm taking physics. And I've gotten through high school barely with elementary algebra. I've never taken trigonometry, never taken all the other stuff, and here I am in physics. This is why this guy was such a good teacher, because like he taught us the elliptical orbit of Mars, and it took him 2 weeks of 4 classes to teach us about the elliptical orbit of Mars and how it works and how it reverses and all this stuff. And then in 15 minutes, he very slowly, carefully gave us what we had learned and put it into numbers, into a physics equation. And my brain just went.
Peggy.
That's why that's why I say everything can be explained mathematically. Well, I think it's the same thing with words. Words are caught inside of a burrito of understanding. So when we talk, we're using words that mean something to us, but it may not necessarily be understood the same way that we understand it, like you're saying God.
Mhm.
To us, it means something very different than to other people unless they talk through it, right?
Talk through it and also give them different variations.
Yep.
Seriously, I'm not joking. Give them, people are not
Nature,
stupid. Everybody's so highly intuitively intelligent. And some people are more dense than others, but you know what I mean. But for the most part, you got a heart, you bleed, yeah.
right?
Interesting, isn't it? This is,
Well, and I had that happen with me with my friend with the post that went out. Look
well,
at
it's
how
not
all
really,
that and there's a whole group of people that feel the same way my friend does.
that's okay.
And we actually had the President of the United States say at a news conference that people that talked about there wasn't a big horn system, the climate, that stuff has been taken, were evil. Our president said that.
Yeah, no, he
Um,
said a lot of, yeah.
so the reason I'm saying is that what I want to do is find a way we can talk with each other and really get past the words and get into what's really in your heart, what's going on in your heart right now. Because I bet you I feel the same way.
Yeah. And it would be nice to, hi babe. It'd be nice. Okay, thank you. He's so sweet. Oh my God. I got to tell you a whole level of stuff going on in my life, which is really fascinating after this. Sorry, guys, we're not going to YouTube that. Where was I? What were we saying?
We were talking about talking to people and getting right down to it, getting
Yeah,
past the,
because if you just do one-on-one with human beings, I'm telling you, you can go deep. You can push aside I. When I say you, I mean me too. I'm included in
right.
push aside political beliefs and things like that and get to the core of things. It's really hard at times because our filtration system. But I'm telling you, Lane, it is. Yeah, you get to heart. You get to what really matters, and maybe some tears and anger. Who knows? Do you know? It's like
No, I learned from a friend of mine that is a Sufi Muslim, and she came out of Uganda, that the way that she was raised in her religion, the word I is not part of their vocabulary.
yeah,
It's like we, us, and
beautiful.
so that's another thing is just being willing to be curious about what we don't know. Being willing to be curious. Like I would be willing to sit down with my friend as long as she had the same intention of let's find a way where we can join, I'd be willing to listen to her point of view.
Absolutely, but when there's nastiness, you just go, ooh, I guess I'm not wanted. Why would you want to engage with that?
Right.
And it's not necessary. You don't even have to do that. That's a nasty, nasty way of.
Well, we've been manipulated. We've been manipulated. I always think about when did marketing become a big, huge thing? Like, was it in the 20s? I don't know. And it's like we're being cannibalized by our own thing that we created. It's crazy, with just, I don't know. Sometimes people are so fucking stupid. Me too. Believe me, the minute I start saying that and judging it, I get to see all kinds of ways that I am so freaking ignorant and that I do
Me
things
too.
right.
Me too. Me too. And a lot of that's going on. And there's also a lot of disturbance going on right now. There really, 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 truly is. And I think it's just what's that word? Zeitgeist, the sign of the times and in the world, all this rippling thing. So henceforth, us light workers keep pushing. I don't care. We gotta keep bundle, we gotta keep coming together and
Well, like, it's always darkest before the dawn.
boom. And
And
and I think this is a good thing. I know this sounds crazy, all this chaos going on. There's another side to it. There just is. That's just how duality works in this plane. It just is. The light will fucking prevail.
that's right. And when
I'm,
the light's coming out, the roaches will scatter,
I'm telling you, yeah. Or, anyway.
right? Or bust apart.
And in the interim, it just feels like death sometimes inside of me. It's like, not just mine. Like I feel like the floods and all that. My God, you know,
I know. I
like
felt that
helpless.
I was doom scrolling about that for
Yeah,
hours because it felt like 9/11 where I could not get enough information. I don't know why I thought I needed the information. It's just I wanted
understand.
to help, I wanted to love, I wanted to pray, I wanted to is there a place I can go in and make a difference,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So
And if you can't physically go out and do something, then it's within. Just have that prayer or have that intention, right? I
I
mean,
think so. I
I
mean,
swear it's magical.
I think it is.
I
I mean,
think,
I interviewed some really interesting people. Lynn Taggart, who's a scientist, and she talks about intention, and she talks about how powerful it can be. And she's part of the Institute of Noetic Sciences. Okay, so what's our takeaway from today, Pan?
I think the takeaway is, again, it's an inside job right now because a lot's going on. There's these horrible floods in Texas where she lives. I live in Denver. I used to live in Texas most of my young and adult life. So I'm fond of it, especially the hill country. Boom, hill country. Um, but the thing is, it's an inside job. Whatever your belief systems are, just serve, help, smile. Just smile a little bit more. Yeah, because
I have one question.
yes,
What
ma'am.
is that thing on your windowsill behind you?
That is my Buddha, my fat.
Okay. I thought it was, but I wasn't sure. Oh,
Look at
that's
my Buddha. This is my Buddha. Isn't it cute? And then you rub his belly, and at least he still smiles at his belly, but he farts sometimes too. So,
that's great.
what do you think our takeaway is? Come on.
No, I think it's about being willing to be open
Yes.
to learning. You know, well, I do ask God, what is your will for me? You know, constantly, and here, and here, and here, and just how can I be a useful being? You know, let me be a being. Let me be a vessel for your love.
Yeah. We're such a serious topic. See, this is it, guys. You could be real serious and not put anybody down or make your own self wrong, and then just look at each other and just start cracking up. Yeah, just try it. Just try it.
Anyway, I love you, and we will talk again. And I'm going to be very interested to see if this made it onto YouTube.
Let's look at it. Yeah, because it says, okay, when you stop recording, okay, I'm gonna stop the, and then I'm going to end it, and it should convert to an MP. Yeah.